Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is King Ahasuerus speaking. While you are my guests in my palace in Shushan, you will abide by the following law. Silence all cell phones. This is 480 BC and we do not have cell phones. Also, stay out of the aisles as members of my court may be running up and down and you may be trampled. Remember, the law of these versions cannot be changed. Now, let's step back in time and enjoy the story of Esther and Europe.
Let's travel back 2,500 years to a town in Persia called Shushan. There lived a man called Mordecai. He was a very good man and always tried to help the people and do the right thing. Mordecai lived with his cousin Esther, and they were Jewish. That means their grandparents had come to the land of Israel many years before and were part of the family of God. In the same town of Shushan, there was a king called King Ahasuerus. He lived in a big palace and had lots of money, but he was lonely. He needed a new queen to come and live with him in the palace. He met many beautiful maidens. Come forth, beautiful maidens. As he decided that one person he loved most of all, after all the selections, was Esther, who was not only beautiful, but also very kind and very smart. So Esther said goodbye to her cousin Mordecai, and she went to live in the palace with the king and become his queen. She did not tell the king that she was Jewish. As tradition goes, every time the name Haman is mentioned, children may drown out his name with groggers. Now there was a man who worked in the palace who was not very kind. His name was Haman. He expected everyone to do exactly what he said and to bow down to him when they saw him. He got very angry if someone did not do exactly what he wanted. One day, Haman saw Mordecai, and Mordecai did not bow down to him. Haman became very angry, and he went to the king. And he went to the king, and he went to the king, and said, "There are some people around here who do things differently than us. I think that you should make them go away." The king didn't really know what Haman was talking about, and he said, "Okay, you can tell those people to go away, the ones who do things differently." What Haman wanted to do was to get rid of Mordecai and all his Jewish friends, but he didn't know one key factor, that Esther was Jewish also. How did he do this? He rolled some dice, called to decide the day on the 13th day of Adar. Very good. Good timing. So he sent the command throughout the kingdom to get rid of all the Jews. The members of the court rode on horseback to deliver the royal command. Here goes the courier. The Jews were very sad when they heard this plan because they liked giving the kingdom of Persia and they didn't want to go away. They also had very loud horses. What could they do? Mordecai sent a message to Esther at the palace, and the king said, "Esther, we need your help. The nasty Haman wants to get rid of us all. Please talk to the king and ask him to stop Haman." Queen Esther thought, "I must be brave. No one can go talk to the king unless he agrees to hold out his royal scepter." Esther bravely went to see the king, and thankfully he held out the royal scepter, and he was glad to see her. She invited the king and Haman to a special dinner with all their favorite foods. Haman and the king ate the royal banquet prepared for Esther. They even had Tupperware. After a wonderful dinner, Esther invited them to come to another dinner the following night, and after eating posthumous amounts of food, they left. But that night, on your pillow, Ahasuerus, you could not sleep because he was on his throne. He could not sleep. He was very restless. He tossed and turned, and he asked his servants to read him the news. We need a reader. There we go. Okay. One of the stories was about how Mordecai saved the king's life by reporting two men who wanted to kill the king. The king asked him if anything was done to thank Mordecai for saving his life. The servant said that nothing had been done to honor Mordecai, and the king thought about that and went to sleep. The next day, he got up off the pillows and went back to his throne. He asked Haman, who was coming into the court, what should be done for the man that the king wishes to honor. Haman smiled because he thought that the king wanted to honor him. Haman said that this person should wear the royal robe and ride on the king's horse and wear the royal crown. The king said, "Great. Do that for Mordecai the Jew and guide him around all of Susa." So Haman had to lead Mordecai around all of Shushan on the king's horse. We need a king's horse, and we need to ride around. So Haman had to lead Mordecai around Shushan on a very slow horse when he was wearing a crown and a royal robe, proclaiming, "This is the man that the king wishes to honor." Haman was extremely embarrassed and humiliated to do this all day long through the streets of Shushan. That evening was the second feast of Esther. To the pillows, everyone, to the pillows. And she invited the king and Haman to come and have dinner with her. The king thought the dinner was delicious, and he was so happy that after he finished eating, he said to Queen Esther, "What can I do for you to say thank you?" The queen stood up and said, "Oh, please, King, I need your help for me and my cousin Mordecai and for all our friends, because someone wants to get rid of all of us." "That is terrible," said the king, because he really loved Esther and he didn't want her to go away. "Who wants to get rid of you and to your family and friends?" Esther pointed to Haman and said, "It's him. That wicked Haman wants to get rid of the Jews." "Oh no," said the king, And he was very angry indeed. Angry Ahasuerus. Show the happy, not happy face. Not jealous, angry. He called the guards and said to take Haman away and get rid of him instead. So they took away Haman and hanged him. Then the king asked Mordecai to come and work at the palace and do Haman's job. But of course, Haman was much kinder than Haman. Another commandment went out with the horsemen with a proclamation that the Jews could defend themselves, and none of them had to go away. Go, courier, go, fast, fast. And after the horsemen returned to the palace, after giving their message to all 127 provinces, so after that, the Jews had joy and gladness and honor in the kingdom. There was a day of joy and feasting and giving gifts to the poor. Bring in the gifts. And many people, shockingly, became Jews because of the fears of the Jews themselves. Mordecai did a really phenomenal job working for the king and Queen Esther and helped them save the Jewish people. Yay, and there was much rejoicing. Ever since then, the special holiday is celebrated by every generation of the Jews on the 14th day of Adar, which is Purim. Now, back to today, 2023, we can celebrate Purim with, say it, Martha, really loudly to everybody. Haman Tashin and challah breads that are typical Persian foods. So you may enjoy the snack at this time. Esther and Mordecai were indeed thankful for their many blessings. Today, the children will sing their thank you song.
will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power,